Hey, hello there. Long time no see. I know I've been on a hiatus for a little while. My semester at school is finally over, and I can knock out a good chunk of videos until school starts again. A lot has happened, a lot of changes, changed jobs, got acquainted closer with racism, a little bit now ageism, sexism coming out. Uh, we talk a lot about race, of course. By the way, I'm Tomlin's Nyback, my pseudo name here on my YouTube channel. We talk a lot about, race and its issues, but know that my philosophy is that mankind is going to find something to judge, to discriminate against in his movement growth about the earth. Interesting idea to which I was educated this semester, which is the idea of silos. We're starting to hear that become more prominent in our discourse on the media and the news lately. And the silos is, it's one of those aspects of American life um, that presents itself, and I think we should be getting used to this. That it forwards an idea that it's beneficial on one end and is hurtful a little on another end. And the idea of silos is, America is the place where we're very liberal, freedom conscious wise, is how I'm using the word liberal in this sense, in that we can identify who we want, gay, black, white supremacist, Jewish, whatever. We can be that. We can be Superman, Wonder Woman, I don't know, just whatever you can think of, we can be that, and we can find a voice, we can be protected out in the American society and whatnot. So the idea of silos is that, you know, since we have the freedom to identify, then we can, secure our space almost like in a silo. And from that, um, then we can live from that space. Now, the problem is, like I said, it cuts both ways. Is that when I put myself in the silo of it, identification, this um, exclusive space, then I am excluding others, and also they are not freely accessing my identity. And it's a strange twist how that's beginning to play out and work in America. Also, if you follow me, if you're one of those people that like to finish reading a book to the end, you know, you don't like starting, you don't like leaving things incomplete. Um, I don't either, although you might not, you might question that on some areas of my life. But in general, I like to read a book to the end. I like to complete whatever I get into. So you'll notice for the past 270 odd days, a lot of my speech is about white power, white people in control, white this, that. But that's going to, you're going to see me morphing, changing that a little bit to the power group, because the power group involves everybody. Historically, yeah, we look at slavery a lot to get the model, and the model is delineated along color lines. That's gotten blurred in America, so the power group includes people of all colors. So you'll see me morphing back into that. Um, but back to silos. Um, be careful of how you identify and whether or not you're allowing yourself to openly participate and allowing yourself to be approachable if that's what you wish. I was I grew up with a lot of understandings that I would be able to openly participate and um, that people wanted me to participate with them and that the world was moving towards this great global community where we got our dysfunctions and we got little bad people in pockets of issues here and there, but the world's just not going in that direction. So we got to be circumspect. We got to keep a watchful eye. Today's piece is about current events. I'm not going to try to backtrack on the days I've missed. We're just going to keep moving right along. Eventually, we're going to hit that 365. I believe in it. I'm exercising some faith. I'm planting seeds. But current events, I watch a lot of CNN. I've gotten more and more attracted to the news and stuff, which is good. I think we Americans are way too passive, and the working class is just in the dark. We get fed what the power group wants us to know, and we move accordingly. Well, we need some information. We need to take the time. It's hard to do that when you're 8 hours in a space, minimum half hour, 45 minutes each way. So it's an hour and a half extra out of your day. Up to 10 hours sliced out. You got to sleep 8. 6 is left. You want to eat and chill out. And then you got to wind down. Ain't much time to get the facts and understand. So uh, I think the current events piece today is appropriate. Before we get that, we want to understand that the power group, generally white, but it encompasses all colors of people. How are they moving and behaving? We can see this a lot in how politics unfolds, some of the infighting we got going on here coming up in the middle of December, and all those issues we want to look at and understand. So um, it's important to take a little snapshot. And we're not even going to talk specifically about current events, maybe just an aspect, sliver of it, that's going to harmonize with Dr. Anderson's missions. Okay. Further, how's the black mind? Now that's I'm going to be specific about because that's why we're here. Racial change ultimately is to get how to get black folk participating equally and effectively in this system dominated by people who erect barriers and employ the various means of resistance against black folks here in America. All right, so what's black mind? We got to be sober. I was just exchanging tweets with a good friend of mine about social justice issues and things like that, as far as the shelter system. And the problem is twofold essentially. You got the one side, you got the power group that employs creative means, and I don't think I'm too paranoid about that. Um, whether it's making work harder, taxes, local laws, administrations, and whatnot. to keep the disadvantaged from having open access to the wealth and resources of this wealthy nation. Now, but the other side is something I would like her to address more head on. Another side that I'm passionate about, I'm trying to be as holistic in approach to societal solutions, is that the disadvantaged have a responsibility too. Get off drugs, live better lives, and things like that. And I know it's not easy. It's kind of where I come from. Uh, and it's not easy trying to live well when everybody is getting high and taking advantage of one another all around you. So, but that's the realistic part. We got to look at both sides of this thing. Um, and your financial literacy. Keep hold of your money. Understand how it is being used in the world. I got a piece coming up about U.S. ambassadors and finances and my issues on that front. I'm inspired to do this work by a man named Dr. Claude Anderson. I've not done this intro in a while, so you're going to see me stuttering through it a little bit. Dr. Claude Anderson. Now he articulates these issues much better than I can. I'm very highly informed by three of his most important works. You can get these as a pack, as a bundle, from him and his organization at powernomics.com. Also, he's active on YouTube again. He's got some current stuff going on. He's got some Q&A thing going and whatnot. Please check him out. I didn't include any links in the notes this time. The YouTube takes them out and turns them and renders them as simple text and all that. I probably won't put any in, but anyway, you can find Dr. Claude Anderson. Anyway, three of his works. I want you to get these, please, so you know I'm not talking it. We reference these. We're going into a different thing, direction for an extended time, but we will return to his works explicitly very soon, I promise you. A Black History Reader, 101 questions you never thought to ask. If you only get one of his books, get this one. He encourages you to get other stuff and all that, but this sparks the fire. This is the kindling and the fire that gets it going. This book right here. Black Labor, White Wealth, Search for Power and Economic Justice, and Dr. Anderson's National Plan to Empower Black America, powernomics.com. Again, you can find Dr. Anderson at powernomics.com. He is involved with the Heritage Institute, other places in D.C. Please check him out. Behind me, you see the hashtag #US2 symbol. You'll find Black women having their voice in their community. There are exclusive issues between Black men and Black women that should be considered. I'm not an authority. I'm just helping them out a little bit here. Also, we have story time. Day 271 had story time. Today's 272. We're talking about current events. But story time is Uncle Tom's Cabin. I can't say enough about the need for everybody to read this book because while it's fictional, it gives a good idea of what was going on in America around slavery at the time, early, mid 1800s. Harriet Beecher Stowe, she's a philosopher. Great work there. So we're going to pick that up tomorrow or the next day, and we'll be in chapter 35. Now today, Day 272. I wanted to just current events. We had just getting over lengthy hearings and House committees and all that this particular week, at kind of mid-December. We're expecting a full House vote on the impeachment of the president, and just watch the news. Well, I say watch CNN, and to get an idea of how that's going to go. But that's not today's current event issue. Today's current event issue, briefly, in our time we got left here, is to talk about uh, uh, the current events, immigration. I saw some interesting things happen that Dr. Anderson has. He has a lot of pet peeves. Um, One of them he talks about extensively in a lot of his material and in his videos is this discrepancy in immigration and all that. I want to even narrow that even further, right? Because America, the darker your skin color, the harder it is for you to get into America. The doors are wide open for Europeans, and it's trickle for like Haitians, Africans, things like that, people like that. And but we can narrow that a little further and see an interesting dynamic that happens in America, and that is that for the Europeans, when they get over here, and this is, I'm talking about this because I saw this in the hearings. I'm watching ambassadors and successful military people talk about how either they or their parents um, came to America, and somehow these people have this meteoric rise. I shouldn't say somehow, of course, these are white folks, lighter skinned folks, and stuff. Um, but this favor that they gather, yeah, their parents come over poor, but somehow they get in those circles to elevate. And I'm talking one, two, three generations um, max removed from entering this country. I mean, this is we're talking about people that came into America maybe uh, mid 1900s. You know, maybe they were fleeing something or just had an opportunity. But for their children to rise up through the American ranks and then represent America abroad and get paid quite handsomely compared to what I get. We're going to talk about the financial issue in a couple days about that. Don't want to land on that yet. What I want to get is that Dr. Anderson, he talks extensively and exclusively at times. How come that doesn't happen for black people? We've been here, you know, but we don't have meteoric rises and favor in the echelons of power, right? I mean, this is in this project, we know uh, what the roots of that systemic issue, but it was just so blatantly in my face that these people came over here. Now, and I'm not personally attacking them. They're wherever they've come from. The areas of Eastern Europe, Western, that Baltic area block. Yeah, a lot of issues there. things going on, even as we share this time together. People, there's wars and people are being killed over there, and plenty of places around the world. You know, so I'm not necessarily attacking them personally, but I don't want us to get too far from the actual America in which we live, right? I mean, I'm sure that the hearings in the House were an embarrassment for a lot of sides, you know, as dirt comes out and rumors and stuff and dysfunction in government and all that. But this blatant display of how favored people in America move upward, have that upward mobility in this nation where the color of my skin is a barrier, is a reason to impede me, is a reason to discount my needs, my aspirations, right? But it's like there on my face when I'm watching these hearings. This ambassador, yeah, she had issues. You know, her being a white female, she ran up against the white male power structure, and they just crushed her. uh, so it's everybody's watching their back, so to speak, right? You know, she was practicing integrity and exercising her truth, her conscience, and all that. But the power structure, the ultimate power structure, which is generally in the hands of white men, uh, just came like a wave and just moved her aside because she was impeding their agenda. Um, so, us black folks, we get along and everything is par for the course, so to speak. It really shouldn't be that way, but it is, you know. Um, but, we need to educate ourselves on how to push back against that. Dr. Anderson, he'll tell us, we got to get the black community mobilized and motivated somehow, some way. It's so absent. I'm running into, just got through this semester in school. I run into more champions of this issue, of what we talk about here, from white people than I have of any black folks. You know, and I know you can search YouTube and the internet and find plenty of black folks talking. But what about the grassroots, homegrown? You know, do you have people of your group, of your interest, moving in a way uh, that harmonizes, that supports this message, Dr. Anderson's message, and message that seeks to give a voice to this discrepancy in America. Today we're talking about um, how first and second generation people rise up in America, come here, maybe not a great master of the language and all that. Oh, and some of the justification for the rise of these white folks from Europe is that they're from the places that they go to be an ambassador and stuff like that. I have issues with that because my idea of an ambassador is to be a representative of the place that they're from. And, constantly filling those spaces with white folks is not a representative of America. America is a cross section of all colors of people. Yeah, and I guess, you don't want a any black folks representing America in Crimea. I guess. I get it. It's okay, America. You know, we, if we could just bring some change around. Um, Crimea, Ukraine, all these nations caught up in between, almost like these proxy wars, you know. So that's today's piece, It's current events, but it's current events how America's racism is still perpetuated in the current events and how thinking people need to see that now. My guess is people with the racial concerns and things like that probably weren't as widely exposed or had critiqued any of the testimonies and the witnesses that were brought forth there in these House committees. One reason is because of the responsible folk of the disadvantaged group in America were probably out working their ass off. I happened to be in school and I worked my ass off at night, so I got to see what goes on in America politically in the daytime, you know, better than any soap opera I ever, and I've watched the best. Oh, yeah. Finally, I do want to. We seem to have switched our attention about election meddling and tampering from Russia to Ukraine. You know, yeah, I mean, we still have a president that's very much allied and friends with a lot of people and organizations, countries that are kind of hostile to America. He continues to have closed door meetings, so there's no transparency there. You know, a lot of stuff. I don't want to take up my time with what he's doing, but it was pretty amazing these 4 years. Um, we'll see how it goes. We're picking through it, but it's interesting. We don't, the focus of election meddling and tampering shifted there, and it's amazing how power just kind of sifts our attention. You know, um, the attention about meddling in American elections went to Ukraine. Everybody acknowledged, okay, we've shifted focus, but they didn't acknowledge it as a ploy to get our eyes off of the former Soviet Union and uh, how that attention has disappeared. You know, there's some very crazy things happening. Complaining about the rise of immigrants that can come to this country, and we're the first, second, third generation at the latest. They are at the top of they're the cream of the crop, representing America, making six-figure salaries, traveling abroad. It's like, wow, dude, what a deal. What a deal. But that's I just need to rant for a little bit. I got in a couple days. We're going to come back to this. But hey, thanks for checking in. It's good to see you again. And we got day 272 out of the way. I'm Tomlin's Nyback. This is 365 days towards racial change. Please come back again. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.